The chamber was enormous, large enough to hold a small city. Taehyun stood in the center of it, alone on a platform that seemed impossibly tiny compared to the vast space around him. Above him, arranged in a perfect circle, sat the 12 members of the Galactic Council. Each one represented a different alien species, and each one looked down at him with expressions he could barely understand. Taehyun had been a diplomat for 20 years back on Earth. He had negotiated peace treaties, trade agreements, and border disputes. He thought he understood how to read a room, but this was different. These beings were not human, and their faces showed emotions that human evolution had never prepared him to interpret. The largest of the council members leaned forward. Its body was covered in thick gray scales, and it had 6 eyes arranged in 2 rows across its massive head. When it spoke, its voice came through the translator device in Daehyun's ear. Human, you stand before the Galactic Council as representative of your species. We have observed your world for the required period. We have studied your civilization. We have reached our conclusion. Daehyun kept his face neutral. His heart was pounding, but he had learned long ago not to show fear. The people of Earth are honored to receive the Council's judgment. Another council member spoke. This one looked almost like a giant insect, with multiple arms that gestured as it talked. Your species is primitive but shows potential. Your technology is adequate for basic space travel. Your population is stable. Your world has resources that the Council can utilize. Therefore, the scaled alien continued, we offer you the standard terms of integration. Your world will become a protectorate of the Galactic Council. You will pay yearly tribute of raw materials and manufactured goods. You will accept Council oversight of your government. You will provide workers for Council projects. In return, you will receive our protection and access to certain technologies. Daehyun had expected this. Earth scientists had been monitoring Council activities for longer than the Council knew. They had watched as other species were discovered and absorbed. The pattern was always the same. And if Earth declines these terms? Daehyun asked. The chamber became very quiet. Several of the Council members made sounds that his translator could not interpret. The scaled alien's 6 eyes all focused on him at once. No species declines, it said simply. In the 3,000 years of Council history, 847 species have been integrated. All accepted the terms. The alternative is pacification. Pacification, Daehyun repeated. Could you explain what that means? The insect-like alien answered this time. If a species refuses integration, the Council is forced to take control by military means. A pacification fleet is sent to the world in question. Resistance is eliminated. The world is then governed directly by Council administrators until the population learns obedience. It is unpleasant for all involved. No species has chosen this path in over 600 years. Daehyun let the silence stretch for a moment. He knew they were watching him, waiting for fear. Instead, he asked a simple question. How long do we have to consider your offer? The standard period is 30 days, the scaled alien said. Though we do not understand why you need time to consider. The choice is obvious. Humanity likes to examine all options carefully, Daehyun said. We will need the full 30 days. Another council member spoke for the first time. This one looked almost like a living crystal, its body reflecting light in strange patterns. This is unusual. Most species accept immediately. What is there to consider? You cannot fight the council. You cannot hide from the council. You can only choose the easy path or the hard path. Daehyun bowed slightly. Nevertheless, I must insist on the 30 days. Our government will need to consult with our people. This is how humanity makes important decisions. The scaled alien made a sound that might have been laughter. Very well. You have 30 days. Use them to prepare for integration. Send word of your acceptance before the deadline. If we hear nothing, we will assume refusal and respond accordingly. Understood, Daehyun said. Thank you for your time. The platform beneath his feet began to descend, lowering him out of the chamber. As he dropped below the floor level, he saw the council members already turning away from him, clearly considering the matter settled. To them, he was just another primitive species about to be absorbed into their empire. The platform brought him to a long corridor where his small security team was waiting. They looked at him with worried faces, but he shook his head slightly. Not here. Not where they might be listening. They walked in silence through the massive station called Apex Prime. It was a neutral meeting place, built at the exact center point between all council territories. The station was home to millions of aliens from hundreds of species. Dae-hyun and his team were the only humans present. They reached the docking bay where Earth's ship was waiting. It was small compared to the massive council vessels around it, barely larger than a corporate shuttle back home. The council probably saw it as more evidence of human primitiveness. Once inside the ship with the doors sealed and the security systems active, Dae-hyun finally allowed himself to take a deep breath. "Sir?" one of his aides asked. "What do we do?" Dae-hyun moved to the communication console. He entered a series of codes that would encrypt his message beyond anything the council had ever seen. Earth's computer scientists had been working on quantum encryption for years, and this was the first real test. "Record message," he said. "Priority Alpha. Ambassador Dae-hyun to Earth Command. First contact complete. Council has delivered ultimatum as expected. Terms are unacceptable. We have 30 days. Repeat, 30 days until deadline. They are confident we will surrender. They believe we have no choice." He paused, thinking about the massive aliens in their chamber, so certain of their power. "They are wrong," he continued. "They think we are weak because our ships are small. They think we are primitive because we ask for time. They do not understand that we have been preparing for this moment since the day we first detected their scout ships." He entered the final code sequence. "Activate Plan Exodus. Tell Admiral Hana to begin final deployment. Tell Chancellor Tae-wan that the performance was successful. They believe exactly what we want them to believe." Dae-hyun ended the recording and sent it on its way. A burst of encrypted data that would reach Earth in 6 hours. Then he sat down in the pilot's chair and looked out at the vast station surrounding them. In 30 days, everything would change. The council thought they knew what was coming. They thought they would add another species to their collection, another world to exploit. They had no idea what humanity had been building in the darkness beyond their sensors. They had no idea that Earth's silence had been strategic, not submissive. They had no idea that the next 30 days would be the last peaceful days they would ever know. Dae-hyun allowed himself a small smile. Let them think humans were weak. Let them think Earth would surrender without a fight. The truth would reveal itself soon enough. He set course for Earth and engaged the engines. Behind him, Apex Prime grew smaller in the view screen. Ahead of him, humanity was preparing for war. Admiral Hana stood in front of the massive display screen, her hands clasped behind her back. The screen showed a map of the solar system. But it was not the solar system that most people knew. This map was covered with thousands of small dots, each one representing something that officially did not exist. The command center was buried 3 kilometers beneath the Gobi Desert. It had taken 2 years to build, carved out of solid rock by machines that worked in complete silence. No satellites had detected its construction. No spy network had discovered its location. As far as the rest of the galaxy knew, Earth's military command operated from the visible bases in Geneva and Washington. They were wrong. "Status report," Hana said quietly. Commander Ji-won stepped forward. She looked exhausted, with dark circles under her eyes. She had been working 20-hour days for months. All shipyards are at full capacity. The final batch of destroyers will be complete in 26 days. The carriers finished yesterday. We are now ahead of schedule, Hana nodded. And our detection risk? Still minimal, Ji-won replied. The Council's survey ships follow predictable patterns. We have them mapped down to the minute. All construction happens when they are on the far side of their patrol routes. All communications remain on the hardline network. No signals have been transmitted that they could intercept. Another officer approached. This was Dr. Minho, the chief weapons scientist. He carried a data tablet and looked excited despite the tension in the room. Admiral, the final test results are in. The railgun performance exceeds our projections by 15%. The Council's shields are designed to disperse energy weapons. They have nothing that can stop a solid projectile moving at 0.35% of light speed. Hana allowed herself a small smile. How many rounds can each ship carry? Main battleships can carry 80. Cruisers carry 40. Destroyers carry 20. We have manufactured enough ammunition to reload every ship 3 times. Minho swiped his tablet. We also completed testing on the swarm missiles. The AI coordination works perfectly. Each missile can communicate with up to 500 others in real time. The Council has never faced anything like it. Good, Hana said. She turned back to the display screen. Show me the fleet positions. The map changed. Now it showed the locations of Earth's hidden fleet. They were scattered throughout the solar system. from the Kuiper Belt to the asteroid fields between Mars and Jupiter. Each group was positioned near natural cover, ready to move at a moment's notice. 1,800 ships, Hana said softly. 2 years ago, Earth had barely 50 vessels capable of military operations. Now we have a fleet that could challenge any power in the galaxy. The Council thinks we are primitive, Ji-won said. There was anger in her voice. They think we only have a few dozen defense platforms around Earth. They have no idea what we built. Hana turned to face her officers. That is exactly what we wanted them to think. When the Council first sent their scout ships into our system 2 years ago, we faced a choice. We could announce ourselves, make first contact on our terms, or we could stay hidden and watch them. She gestured at the map. We chose to watch. We tracked their scouts. We intercepted their communications. We learned their language before they knew we existed. And we learned the most important thing. The Council only respects strength. They conquer the weak and negotiate with the strong. Dr. Minho nodded. So we made them think we were weak while we became strong. Exactly, Hana said. 6 months ago, when they finally made official contact, we were ready. Ambassador Dae-hyun played his role perfectly. He acted confused, overwhelmed, primitive. He gave them exactly what they expected to see. A new officer entered the room. This was Captain Sora, the youngest carrier commander in the fleet. She saluted sharply. Admiral, fighter squadrons report full readiness. All pilots have completed the stealth intercept training. We are ready for deployment. Excellent, Hana said. Captain, your squadrons will be the first wave. When the Council fleet arrives, they will be looking for large ships. They will not expect thousands of small fighters operating in coordinated swarms. Sora grinned. They will learn to expect them, Admiral. Hana walked to a different display. This one showed images of Council ships collected from 2 years of careful observation. Their designs were elegant and powerful, built with technology far more advanced than anything Earth possessed individually. Do not underestimate them, Hana warned. Each Council ship is superior to any single ship we have built. Their shields are stronger. Their weapons have longer range. Their engines are faster. If this were a fair fight, ship against ship, we would lose. But it will not be a fair fight, Ji-won said. No, Hana agreed. It will not be fair at all. We will outnumber them 9-1. We will know their positions before they know ours. We will strike from directions they do not expect, and we will use weapons they have never encountered. She pulled up another image. This showed Earth itself, the blue and green planet that every human called home. They made a mistake when they threatened our world, Hana said quietly. They study species. They calculate military capacity. They measure technology levels. But they did not understand the most important thing about humanity. What is that? Sora asked. We do not surrender our home, Hana said. Every human alive knows Earth. We were all born here, or our parents were born here. This is not just another planet to us. This is the only world humanity has ever known. When the Council threatened Earth, they did not just threaten a government or a military. They threatened every human's home. The room was silent. Every officer present understood what she meant. They had all volunteered for this mission knowing they might die. They had all worked in secret, unable to tell their families what they were doing. They had all sacrificed because Earth needed them. The Council has conquered hundreds of species, Hana continued, but they have always faced divided opposition. Species that had already spread to multiple worlds, fighting among themselves about how to respond, or species still confined to one world but without the industry to resist. Humanity is different. We are united. We are industrialized, and we had 2 years to prepare. Commander Ji-won checked her tablet. Ambassador Dae-hyun's message arrived 1 hour ago. The Council gave us 30 days, exactly as predicted. They expect us to surrender. Then we have 29 days to finish our preparations, Hana said. All remaining resources go to the fleet. I want every ship fully loaded and fully crewed. I want every pilot rested and ready. I want every weapon tested and retested. She looked at each officer in turn. In 29 days, the Council will learn what happens when you threaten Earth. They will learn that humanity fights for its home. And they will learn that sometimes the species you think is weak is actually the most dangerous of all. The officers saluted and began to leave, returning to their duties. Only Ji-won remained behind. Admiral, she said quietly. Do you think we can really win? Hana was silent for a moment, looking at the map of Earth's hidden fleet. The Council has superior technology. They have thousands of years of experience. They have never lost a major battle, but, Jiwon prompted. But they have never fought anyone like us, Hana said. They have never faced an enemy that had time to prepare. They have never encountered human tactics, and they have never understood what it means to fight someone who has no choice but to win. She turned to face Jiwon directly. Yes, Commander. I think we can win. Not because we are stronger or smarter, but because we are defending our home, and they are just adding another conquest to their list. That difference matters. Jiwon nodded and left. Hana turned back to the display screen, watching the small dots that represented humanity's fleet. Each dot was a ship full of people who had volunteered to defend Earth. Each one was ready to fight and possibly die for their world. The Council thought they were coming to pacify a primitive species. They thought they would face minimal resistance. They thought humanity would see their fleet and surrender immediately. They were wrong about all of it. Admiral Hana pulled up a communication screen and began recording her orders. They would go out on the hardline network, reaching every ship commander in the fleet. The message was simple: prepare for war. Military Prefect Rython studied the holographic display with barely concealed boredom. The image showed Earth, a small blue planet rotating slowly in the projection field. Around it were marked the positions of human defense platforms, a dozen primitive structures that could barely be called weapons. This is what we are deploying 200 warships to pacify, Rython asked. His voice carried 4 different tones at once, a natural feature of his species' complex vocal structure. This is hardly worth my time. His second-in-command, a smaller member of the same species, gestured at the display. The Council requires standard procedure, Prefect. All new species must be properly integrated. The humans have had 20 days to respond. They have sent no acceptance of terms. Rython waved a dismissive hand. He had 4 arms, and each one moved independently. They will accept. They always accept. They are simply delaying, hoping for better terms. It is what primitive species do when they first understand the power of the Council. Shall I begin fleet assembly? The second asked. Yes, Rython said. Standard pacification formation. We will arrive at Earth in 10 days. That gives them exactly 30 days total, as promised. When they see our fleet, they will surrender immediately. Then I can return to important duties. The second-in-command left to issue orders. Rython remained, staring at the image of Earth. He had conducted 17 pacification missions in his career. None had required actual combat. The sight of the Council fleet was always enough to convince primitive species to surrender. This would be number 18, and equally boring. Meanwhile, in the darkness beyond Neptune, Captain Yuna stood on the bridge of her ship and watched the sensor displays. Her vessel was one of Earth's stealth cruisers, coated with materials that absorbed sensor beams instead of reflecting them. It was nearly invisible to Council technology. Contact, her sensor officer reported. Council survey ship, same patrol pattern as before. It will pass within 50,000 kilometers. All systems to silent running, Yuna ordered. No active sensors. No transmissions. Minimal heat signature. The bridge crew worked in silence. They had done this dozens of times over the past weeks. The Council ships passed by, never knowing that human vessels were watching them from the shadows. Yuna had spent 15 years in Earth's submarine forces before the space program recruited her. She understood stealth. She understood patience. She understood that the best hunters were the ones their prey never saw coming. The Council ship passed by on its patrol route, its sensors sweeping the area but finding nothing. After it was safely distant, Yuna allowed herself to relax slightly. Mark the patrol pattern, she said. Send it to Fleet Command via hardline. Admiral Hana needs to know their exact positions. Back on Earth, Ambassador Dae-hyun sat across from a holographic projection of 3 Council members. These were not the full Council, just the diplomatic subcommittee assigned to finalize Earth's integration. Ambassador, the scaled Council member said, we have received no formal acceptance from your government. The deadline approaches. This is most irregular. Dae-hyun arranged his face into an expression of worry and stress. Honored Council members, please understand. My government is divided. Some factions wish to accept your generous terms. Others resist. I am trying to build consensus, but it takes time. Time is running short, the insect-like Council member said. If you do not accept by the deadline, we will be forced to take action. I understand, Dae-hyun said. He let his voice sound desperate. Please, could we negotiate some of the terms? Perhaps reduce the tribute requirements? My government might accept if the burden were lighter. The council members made sounds that might have been laughter. The terms are standard. They do not change. Every species pays the same tribute relative to their capacity. But surely, Dae-hyun pressed, there could be some flexibility. Perhaps we could offer other resources instead. Earth has unique biological diversity. We could provide scientific samples. The negotiation continued for 2 hours. Dae-hyun proposed compromises, asked for clarifications, requested additional time to consult with his government. The council members grew increasingly impatient, but they followed their protocols. They answered his questions and considered his proposals, even though they were clearly pointless. When the meeting finally ended, Dae-hyun slumped in his chair, maintaining his exhausted appearance until the hologram fully disconnected. Then he smiled. 2 more hours wasted. 2 more hours for Admiral Hana to move ships into position. 2 more hours for the Council to grow more confident and less cautious. In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Commander Ji-won oversaw the final supply transfers. Huge cargo ships moved between the hidden shipyards and the waiting fleet, delivering ammunition, fuel, and provisions. "How long until we are fully stocked?" she asked. 72 hours, her logistics officer replied. "Every ship will have full magazines and full tanks. We will have enough supplies for 3 months of sustained combat." "The battle will not last 3 months," Ji-won said quietly. "It will last 3 hours or we will lose." The officer nodded grimly. Everyone knew the truth. If the battle became prolonged, the Council would have time to call for reinforcements. Earth's only advantage was surprise and numbers. They had to win fast or they would not win at all. "Continue loading operations," Ji-won ordered. "I want us ready ahead of schedule." Lieutenant Yoonji piloted her scout ship through the outer solar system, her sensors carefully mapping every Council vessel that entered the area. Her ship was tiny, barely larger than a fighter, but it was equipped with the most advanced detection equipment humanity had ever built. "Another one," she reported over the encrypted channel. "Long-range survey vessel heading 047 Mark 12. Same model as the others." She watched as the Council ship moved through space, scanning the area with its powerful sensors. Those sensors were looking for planets, asteroids, anything of scientific or military interest. They were not calibrated to detect stealth ships the size of Yoonji's vessel. The Council ship passed within 10,000 kilometers and detected nothing. Yoonji waited until it was safely away before adjusting her position. She had been out here for 8 days now, living on recycled air and pre-packed meals, watching the Council's movements. It was boring work, but it was crucial. Every piece of data she gathered went back to Admiral Hana, helping to build a complete picture of Council operations. "Scout 7 to command," she transmitted. "Patrol pattern confirmed. They have not varied their route by more than 2%. They are predictable." "Command copies," came the reply. "Maintain position. New deployment orders will arrive in 6 hours. Yoonji settled in to wait. 6 more days until the deadline. 6 more days of hiding in the dark, watching the enemy, gathering information. Then the waiting would end and the fighting would begin. On Apex Prime Station, Rhython reviewed the final fleet assembly. 200 warships, the standard pacification force. Each ship was crewed by experienced warriors. Each ship carried weapons that could destroy a city in seconds. "The humans have not responded to our latest communication," his second reported. "Shall we begin the approach to Earth?" Rhython considered. "Have we received any intelligence on human military preparations?" "No, Prefect. Our surveys show only the expected orbital platforms. No ship construction. No fleet assembly. They appear to be hoping we will simply forget about them." "Typical primitive thinking," Rhython said. "Very well. Order the fleet to depart in 2 days. We will arrive at Earth with 8 days remaining before the deadline. The sight of our ships in their sky will convince them to surrender." "And if they do not surrender?" the second asked. Rhython's forearms gestured dismissively. "Then we will disable their platforms, occupy their major cities, and establish control. It will take perhaps 6 hours. The humans have no chance of resistance." What Rhython did not know was that his every communication was being intercepted. Earth's intelligence services had broken Council encryption within the first year of observation. They knew the fleet size. They knew the departure date. They knew the exact route Rhython planned to take. Admiral Hana received the intelligence report and smiled. "They are coming exactly as predicted. Deploy all units to final positions. Maintain communication silence until my direct order. Let them think they are approaching a helpless world. Across the solar system, 1,800 human ships began to move. They stayed behind asteroids, used planets for cover, ran their engines at minimal power to avoid detection. They positioned themselves along the route the Council fleet would take, creating a trap that stretched across millions of kilometers. Captain Sora briefed her fighter pilots one last time. Remember your training. Stay in formation. Follow the swarm protocols. The Council has never faced mass fighter tactics. Their ships are designed for capital ship combat. They will not know how to handle thousands of small, fast targets. The pilots nodded, their faces serious. Most were young, in their 20s, the best pilots Earth had ever produced. They had trained for this moment for 2 years. 5 more days, Sora said. Then we show them what Earth's defenders can do. Ambassador Dae-Hyun sent one final message to the Council. It was carefully worded to sound desperate and uncertain. He asked for another meeting, proposed new compromises, requested additional time. The Council fleet entered Earth's solar system in perfect formation. 200 warships arranged in 3 layers, their shields glowing with power, their weapons ready. Military Prefect Rhython stood on the bridge of his flagship and felt satisfied. This would be another easy victory. Long-range sensors detect the human homeworld, his sensor officer reported. Distance 12 light minutes. The orbital platforms are visible. No sign of any fleet. As expected, Rhython said. They have nothing to fight us with. Maintain course. We will arrive in 4 hours. What Rhython's sensors did not detect were the 1,800 human ships hiding throughout the solar system. They ran silent, their stealth coatings absorbing the Council's sensor beams. They waited like hunters in the dark, watching their prey approach. On Earth in the buried command center, Admiral Hana watched the tactical display. The red icons representing Council ships moved steadily toward the blue dot that was Earth. Around them, invisible to the enemy, were the green icons of humanity's fleet. Range? She asked quietly. Enemy fleet will reach optimal firing position in 20 minutes, Commander Jiwon replied. All our units are in position. All pilots are in their ships. All weapons are armed. Hana took a slow breath. This was the moment 2 years of preparation had built toward. In 20 minutes, humanity would either prove it could defend itself, or the Council would destroy Earth's fleet and conquer the planet. Send the order, Hana said. All ships to battle stations. Prepare to decloak on my mark. Across the solar system, thousands of humans prepared for combat. Fighter pilots strapped into their cockpits. Ship crews manned their stations. Weapons officers armed their railguns. Everyone knew that the next few hours would determine humanity's future. Captain Yuna felt her hands grip the armrests of her command chair. Her stealth cruiser was positioned behind a large asteroid, directly in the path of the Council fleet. She had orders to fire the first shot. Enemy approaching optimal range, her weapons officer said. 3 minutes to firing position. Target their lead destroyer, Yuna ordered. Load railgun with armor-piercing rounds. Prepare to fire on Admiral's command. The minutes crawled by. The Council fleet came closer, still unaware they were surrounded. Rhython stood on his flagship bridge, confident and bored. Then Admiral Hana gave the order that changed everything. All ships decloak. Show them Earth. Throughout the solar system, 1,800 warships suddenly appeared on Council sensors. Stealth coatings powered down. Ships emerged from behind asteroids, weapons armed and ready. The trap was sprung. On Rhython's flagship, alarms began screaming. Contact! Multiple contacts! The sensor officer shouted. Hundreds of ships. Thousands of ships. They are everywhere. Rhython stared at his display in disbelief. The formation that surrounded his fleet was impossible. Humans were primitive. They had no fleet. His intelligence reports had confirmed it, but the sensor display did not lie. His 200 ships were surrounded by a force 9 times their size. All ships defensive formation, Rhython ordered. Raise shields to maximum. How did they hide this many ships? He would never get an answer to that question. Fire, Admiral Hana said calmly. Captain Yuna's cruiser fired first. The railgun accelerated a solid slug to 35% of light speed. The projectile crossed the distance to the Council destroyer in less than a second. The Council's energy shields, designed to dissipate laser and plasma fire, were useless against solid matter moving that fast. The slug punched through the shield, through the armor, and through the ship. It went in one side and out the other. leaving a perfectly cylindrical hole. Atmosphere vented. Systems exploded. The destroyer began to drift, powerless. That was the signal. Every human ship opened fire at once. Thousands of railgun rounds crossed the darkness. They moved too fast for Council point defense systems to track. They hit with kinetic energy that even Council shields could not stop. Within the first 30 seconds, 20 Council ships were disabled or destroyed. Return fire. Rhython screamed. All ships, return fire! The Council fleet tried to respond, but they were surrounded and outnumbered. Their heavy weapons, designed for long-range capital ship duels, struggled to target the smaller human vessels. When they did hit, their energy beams were devastating, burning through human armor and destroying ships completely. But for every human ship destroyed, 5 more appeared to take its place. Launch fighters, Admiral Hana ordered. Captain Sora led her squadron out of the carrier bay. Around her, 4,000 other fighter craft launched from their carriers. They formed into swarms, each swarm coordinated by AI systems that let them act as a single organism. The Council had never faced massed fighter tactics. Their ships had some point defense, but not enough to handle thousands of small, fast targets all attacking at once. Sora's swarm targeted a Council cruiser. They came in from 6 different directions, moving in patterns that seemed random but were actually carefully coordinated. The cruiser's defense systems tried to track them, tried to shoot them down, but there were too many. The fighters fired their missiles, hundreds of them, all targeted on the same ship. The Council cruiser's shields held for 3 seconds, then they collapsed. The missiles struck armor and the cruiser broke apart. Swarm 1 to all units, Sora transmitted. Pattern successful. Repeat on next target. The battle spread across millions of kilometers. Council ships tried to break free of the human formation, but every direction they turned, they found more human vessels waiting. The humans fought with a coordination and intensity that the Council had never encountered. Commander G1 watched the battle from Earth's command center. The tactical display showed the engagement in real time. Green icons swarmed around red ones. Ships died on both sides, represented by icons winking out of existence. Casualty report, she said quietly. 80 human ships destroyed. 314 damaged but operational. Council losses. 112 ships destroyed, 47 disabled. The officer paused. Admiral, we are winning. On Rhython's flagship, chaos reigned. Alarms screamed. Damage reports flooded in. The prefect's perfect formation had dissolved into a desperate fight for survival. We need reinforcements. Rhython's second shouted over the noise. Send a distress call to Apex Prime. Communications are jammed, another officer reported. The humans are blocking all transmissions. We cannot call for help. Rhython felt something he had not experienced in his long military career: fear. His fleet was being destroyed. His ships, each one superior to any human vessel, were being overwhelmed by sheer numbers and tactics he did not understand. All ships, full retreat, he ordered. Break contact and escape the system. But there was nowhere to run. Human ships blocked every escape route. When Council vessels tried to activate their faster-than-light drives, human missiles destroyed their engine sections. The battle had become a massacre. Admiral Hana watched as the Council fleet disintegrated. She felt no pleasure in the destruction, only grim determination. Earth needed to win decisively. The galaxy needed to see that humanity could not be conquered. Boarding teams begin operations, she ordered. Human soldiers in armored suits approached damaged Council ships. They breached hulls, fought through corridors, captured crew members. The goal was not just to destroy the Council fleet, but to capture it. Every ship taken intact was intelligence, technology, proof of victory. Captain Yuna's cruiser approached Rhython's damaged flagship. The Council command ship was still functional, but surrounded by dozens of human vessels. It had nowhere to run. Council flagship, this is Captain Yuna of Earth Defense Forces. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. You have 60 seconds to comply. On the flagship bridge, Rhython stared at the transmission. 60 seconds. After 3,000 years of Council dominance, a primitive species was giving him 60 seconds to surrender. He looked at his crew. They were defeated, terrified, waiting for his order. His fleet was destroyed. There was no escape. The humans had won. Power down weapons, Rhython said quietly. Lower shields. They have beaten us. 4 hours after the battle began, it was over. The Council fleet was destroyed or captured. 87% of their ships were gone. The remaining vessels were damaged and filled with prisoners. Earth's losses were significant. 218 ships destroyed, 3,400 human lives lost. But compared to the Council's losses, it was a victory beyond what anyone had hoped for. Admiral Hana stood in the command center, looking at the final casualty reports. Each number represented people who had died defending Earth, people with families, dreams, futures. All gone, Admiral, Commander Jiwon said softly. The remaining Council ships are requesting permission to leave the system. What are your orders? Hana was quiet for a long moment. Then she activated the fleet-wide communication channel. Council ships, this is Admiral Hana of Earth Defense Forces. You are free to leave. Take your damaged vessels and your prisoners. Return to the Council. Tell them what happened here. Tell them that Earth will not surrender. Tell them that humanity fights for its home. She paused, making sure every word was recorded. And tell them that if they come for us again, we will be ready. The surviving Council ships began to limp away from Earth. Their formation broken, their confidence shattered. 2 weeks after the battle, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The massive chamber on Apex Prime Station was filled with representatives from all 12 member species. But unlike previous sessions, there was no confidence in the room. There was only shock and confusion. Military Prefect Rython stood in the center of the chamber alone. He wore no armor or decorations. His forearms hung at his sides. He had been stripped of his rank and his honor. Now he was simply a messenger, here to deliver his report on the disaster at Earth. The human fleet numbered approximately 1,800 vessels, Rython said, his voice flat. They were positioned throughout their solar system, hidden from our sensors. When we entered what we believed was optimal attack range, they surrounded us completely. The scaled council member who had first spoken to Ambassador Dae-hyun leaned forward. How is this possible? Our intelligence showed only primitive orbital platforms. Where did they build such a fleet? We do not know, Rython admitted. They must have been observing us for years before we made official contact. They built their ships in secret in locations we never detected. They learned our language, our tactics, our patrol patterns. They knew everything about us while we knew nothing about them. The insect-like council members' multiple arms gestured angrily. What of your 200 warships? Each one superior to human vessels. How were you defeated? Rython's voice remained steady, though shame colored his words. Numbers, coordination, tactics we had never encountered. The humans attacked in swarms using thousands of small fighter craft that overwhelmed our defenses. They used kinetic weapons that penetrated our shields. They jammed our communications so we could not call for reinforcements. They fought with a desperation and skill that I have never witnessed. Desperation, the crystal-like council member said, because they were defending their homeworld. Yes, Rython agreed. Every human on those ships knew they were fighting for Earth itself. They were not protecting distant colonies or abstract concepts. They were protecting the only world their species has ever known. The council chamber fell silent. For 3,000 years, the council had integrated species through overwhelming force. No one had ever defeated them. No one had even significantly resisted them, until humanity. What are our options? The scaled council member asked. We cannot allow this defeat to stand. Other species will see weakness. We must respond. With what? Another council member asked. This one resembled a mass of tentacles arranged around a central body. Rython's fleet was our standard pacification force. If we send another fleet, it must be larger, much larger, and it will take years to assemble. We could send 10 fleets, the insect-like member said. Overwhelming force. Destroy their world and make an example. And how many ships would we lose? The tentacled member replied. The humans demonstrated advanced tactics and weapons. They have industrial capacity we did not know existed. A war with Earth could last decades and cost thousands of ships. Are we prepared for that? The argument continued. Council members debating between pride and practicality. Some wanted immediate revenge. Others recognized that the cost of conquering humanity might be too high. Then the chamber doors opened. Ambassador Dae-hyun entered, but he was not alone. Admiral Hana walked beside him wearing her military uniform. Behind them came a full honor guard of human soldiers, each one carrying weapons that had proven effective against Council technology. The power dynamic had changed completely. Dae-hyun was no longer the desperate diplomat begging for mercy. He walked with confidence, a representative of a species that had proven it could fight. Honored council members, Dae-hyun said, "Thank you for receiving us." "We did not invite you," the scaled member said coldly. "Nevertheless, we are here," Admiral Hana replied. "And you will listen to what we have to say." The bluntness shocked the council. No one spoke to them that way. But they also knew that humanity had earned the right to speak bluntly. Dae-hyun activated a holographic display. It showed a document written in both human languages and council script. Earth presents the following terms for a treaty between humanity and the Galactic Council. He began reading. With each term, the council members' expressions shifted between anger and resignation. Earth will be recognized as a sovereign power, equal in status to any council member. We will pay no tribute. We will accept no council oversight of our government. We will control our own territories and our own decisions. In exchange, Earth offers open trade agreements on equal terms. We will share certain technologies. We will participate in diplomatic exchanges. We will consider mutual defense agreements with individual council members who wish to pursue them. Furthermore, Admiral Hana added, Earth proposes a reformation of council structure. Military strength alone should not determine political power. Scientific advancement, cultural development, and diplomatic skill should also be recognized. The scaled council members' six eyes all focused on Dae-hyun. You come to us having defeated one fleet and make demands? You should be grateful we do not send our entire military to your world. You could try, Hana said calmly. We will be ready. We have already begun expanding our fleet. By the time your forces arrive, we will have 3,000 ships, then 5,000, then 10,000. Earth's industrial capacity is vast and we are motivated. Every human knows what you threatened. Every human will fight to protect our home. This is unacceptable, the insect-like member said. The council has rules, hierarchy, order. You cannot simply refuse to participate. Watch us, Dae-hyun replied. We do not want war with the council, but we will not surrender our freedom. You can accept our terms and gain Earth as a trading partner and potential ally, or you can fight us and lose ships, resources, and time while gaining nothing. The choice is yours. For a long moment, no one spoke. The council members looked at each other, communicating in ways humans could not perceive. Finally, the tentacled member spoke. Several species have already approached us privately. They wish to negotiate separate agreements with Earth. They see opportunity in human technology and tactics. If we refuse your terms, these species may break ranks with council policy. Then it seems you have a decision to make, Admiral Hana said. The scaled council member made a sound of frustration. We will consider your terms. Negotiations will take time. Take all the time you need, Dae-hyun said. Earth is not going anywhere. We will be right here in our solar system, building our fleet and developing our technology. When you are ready to talk as equals, we will be ready to listen. He and Admiral Hana turned to leave. The human honor guard followed them out of the chamber. Behind them, the Galactic Council descended into heated debate. Later, on a human ship heading back to Earth, Dae-hyun stood with Admiral Hana in an observation lounge. They watched the stars through the viewport, neither speaking for several minutes. Do you think they will accept our terms? Dae-hyun finally asked. Eventually, Hana replied. Pride will make them resist at first, but practicality will win. We proved we can defend ourselves. We proved that conquering Earth would cost more than it is worth. They will negotiate. Many people died in that battle, Dae-hyun said quietly. 3,400 lives. Was it worth it? Hana was silent for a long time. I think about that question every day. I visit the memorial wall every morning. I see their names, their faces. Young people who volunteered to defend Earth and never came home. She turned to face him. But I also think about what would have happened if we had surrendered. The council would have taken our resources, controlled our government, decided our future. Humanity would have become just another subject species. Our potential limited by beings who saw us as primitive. Those 3,400 people died so that 8 billion humans could remain free, Hana continued. They died so that their children could grow up on an independent Earth. They died protecting not just a planet, but an idea. The idea that humanity controls its own destiny. Dae-hyun nodded slowly. I spent months pretending to be weak and desperate, playing the role of a primitive diplomat who did not understand galactic politics. Every time I spoke to the council, I wanted to tell them the truth. That we were ready, that we would fight. But you did not, Hana said. You played your role perfectly. You gave us the time we needed. The Council's arrogance was their weakness, and your performance reinforced that arrogance. Rython asked me a question after his capture, Daehyun said. He wanted to know how we defeated him, how a primitive species destroyed his fleet. I told him the truth. What did you say? I told him that the Council made a fundamental mistake. They threatened our home. Not a colony, not an outpost, but the world where humanity was born. Every human alive has a connection to Earth. We know its oceans and mountains. We know its seasons and storms. It is part of us in ways that the Council could never calculate or understand. Daehyun looked out at the stars again. The Council conquers species that are divided or spread thin. Species that might surrender part of their territory to save another part. But Earth is all we have. We could not give up a portion and retreat elsewhere. We had to defend it all or lose everything. And so we fought, Hana said, not because we wanted war, but because the alternative was unacceptable.